Alright, hey guys. Well, welcome to my tech talk. This is the one that I've been waiting to talk about this for a long time. Something on my mind. And then next video, I could talk about different things. So yeah, but there's something in the Passport Bro community that I've been talking about for ages now, right? Because there's something going on, really, going on there, and where people just make mistakes all over and over and over and over again, and they expect to think that things are going to be different this time. Like, no, they're getting worse, really. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. So, as you know, right, in the title, the Passport Bro fantasy, will moving abroad really fix your life? As I know that this passport phenomenon, and I did talk about living here and there, right, here and there, wherever that is, right. So anyways, now before I start, right, I want to make something clear, right. I'm not against traveling, right. I'm not against Colombia. I'm not against any other country that you want to travel. I'm not against Colombian women. I'm not trying to say that everyone that moves abroad is like desperate for a relationship, or you're broke because you don't have money, or maybe you just have problems with other people. You think, not everyone moves abroad is a bad person or desperate or somehow broken. I think everyone's different. I think everyone, is very capable. I think we want a new life, right? We want a new culture in life. That's all and good, you see. So, if you genuinely love another country, you enjoy the culture, you speak the language, right? You visited multiple times, you research what life is actually like there, and you decide you want to build a life there, then that's fair enough, right? You go to other countries, you decide to build a life there, great, right? Absolutely. You can find the culture, you can find the people, communities, however that you want, and whatever that is, right? But there's a different situation that concerns me, right? And that's when someone who's already lonely, right, doesn't know how to deal with dating, bitter about rejection, unhappy with finances, and generally unhappy with their lives, and then someone tells online in the passport space, I'm not going to tell you who it is because I don't want to snitch on it, right? They're telling you, don't worry, you can live in the West, go to Colombia, the women there will appreciate you. But that's what I think we need to slow down, right? Now here's get to the difficult part, right? Something you need to know this, right? You won't like this. Just because changing the country, changing the geography, geographic location, the place I read doesn't change what's going inside your head, on your heart, right? Something that you really know how to feel about it, right? Let's be honest. Yeah, let's just hate the truth. Let's get out the elephant out of the house, right? I don't know how you spell it right, but let's say let's get the elephant in the room. Dating in Britain can be difficult, right? People get rejected. I get rejected 10 times. I got rejected multiple times, right? I got silent treatment. I got positive. I got neutral. I got negative, right? People struggle to be partners, right? So that means dating apps, business, career mode, everything, because people are going up, right? Women are taking careers. They're thinking about what's going on there. So they're delaying into relationships in 30s. Something delaying about kids as well. Something that maybe I could talk about next video in depth, but this is a different topic. So it is a different topic. Some people feel lonely. Some people don't like dating apps. Some people feel like more than dating is too transactional. And then you get the the cost of living, which is going high up in London. I have this like 4K fucking months, man. Fucking hell, months ago, right? Expensive housing, expensive nightlife, unpredictable weather, right? And general pressure of living in a major British city, or Western city if you want to call it. If you're American, if you're Canada, Australia, so or maybe even Europe as well, same as country, or maybe East Asia even, right? Like a Tokyo, South Korea. I mean, you feel like the same way as well, right? You feel like dating has gone completely the other way around. It's very difficult as well, right? You can obviously understand why someone becomes frustrated, right? But here's the thing. Frustration can turn into something else when social media get involved. You start watching videos about dating abroad. You start watching about someone that tells you you have to go there because women are shit. Yeah, women are shit in your country. Come over there. You will get everything. You will get a number. You will get married. I promise you. Yeah, I got you, dog. Yeah, you will feel like him because you got a UK passport, right? You have a UK passport, yeah? I'm back where I was at. Oh yeah, so they think that because you have a day abroad, yeah, that means they're gonna flex around your passport like this, yeah. You say you got a British passport, yeah. Everyone's gonna get you, yeah. You will cover with this passport, and girls will be loving you, right? Until you know, no, it's completely out of the question. No, it's completely out of the blue when you go over there, right? And you know that it's all lies. But you see someone, but then to make it worse, you see someone, yeah, in Medellin, walking around a nightclub, approaching women, getting positive reactions. Maybe not so much, you know, because they are rejected white guys. But before then, you know, I'm talking before then, there wasn't so much harsh reactions, right? Showing beautiful scenery, showing out life, talk about how much cheaper everything is, and telling that women are more feminine and receptive. It's true for another part, but it's not really feminine and receptive in other countries. I mean, other countries, anyways, it's still feminine and receptive. You just be lied about by online again, right? Then you watch another video and another and another. Eventually, the algorithm start giving you the same message over and over and over again. About the women in the West don't appreciate you. Club is different. Go overseas. Your dating life will change, and suddenly you're not watching travel content anymore, right? You're watching escape fantasy, and that's where I think people need to be careful, because YouTube and TikTok don't necessarily show you the whole picture. Think about London Color project content. You might watch a video seeing the entire spectrum. You see the woman who's interested. You see the woman who's friendly and says no, right? You see the woman who ignores the guy completely. You see awkward interaction. You see an awkward interaction. And sometimes you see a woman who simply says fuck off, right? Or F off. That kind of say, well, I'll just say fuck off, right? To be bluntly, it's uncomfortable, but it's real, and rejection itself can become part of the entertainment. Now compare that with some of the highly romanticized Colombian content. You might see beautiful nightlife. You see people dressed up, right? You see successful approaches. You see positive reactions. You see a creator talking about how amazing everything is. But how often do you see the creator approaching 20 women, 20-something women, yeah, or about 20, 30, 50 in the stats there, right, and getting rejected by 15 of them, yeah? How often do you see, or in night, how often do you see the awkward conversation? Sorry about that. My mum just tried to midway for the video. But anyways, how often do you see the awkward conversation? How often do you see the person who says, no, I'm not interested? How often do you see creators sitting alone in an apartment after excitement has disappeared? That's a problem. You're comparing real rejection footage from one environment with highly selected footage from another. It doesn't mean Colombian women don't reject men. Of course they do. Colombian men are individuals. Some will like you, some won't. Some will be friendly, some will ignore you. Some will reject you politely. Some might well tell you to fuck off. I don't see that because they want to record their content as very beautiful, very nice, but you realize the harsh things now they can just piss off, right? Because of so much tourists and people, and now like they don't know how to handle tourism really well. So it's like they're not used to it, right? They're not used to it compared to the West, compared to other countries which have long-term history. Yeah, now you know the city, they leveled up his reinvented Medellin, yeah, and guess what? They weren't ready for what's about to come with lots of tourists coming in and, you know, doing all the things as well, right? That's why they're resentment local versus foreigners, because foreigners are getting less of the pie. They're getting blamed for the locals, and locals are like, some rich locals are like, setting up the rent high just for anyone to not live there, not make it affordable, and they want you to blame us for, you know, for making a mess. And there were some gringos at fault, there's some locals at fault, there were people making a fault to each other. It's just some troublemakers, right? But yeah, that's just dating. You know, passport, right? So I hear, right, I'm on red, so obviously I'm on, I got the passport back in 2019, but there's a new black passport. But, you know, like, just for example, that passport, the so red passport for me, yeah, doesn't magically eliminate rejection. Your British accent doesn't give you guaranteed one might take advantage, and landing the Mandarin doesn't, suddenly make you irresistible. You might get some curiosity because you're foreign. You might have some interesting conversations. You might generally find that you prefer the social environment, but that's completely different from saying that women from there, right, will automatically appreciate you. And here's where things get more serious, right? Medellin is a beautiful city. Colombia has beautiful culture, food, music, landscapes, incredibly welcoming people, right? But also general security concerns that people need to understand, right? There's been a lot of cases where there's like, this is called scopolamine, right? So you put a little drug inside, and I think that's when you drug inside, and that's when the person gets busy, and then it passes out, and someone probably steals off, and then you got people are drugging and robbing, and then sometimes using, sometimes you could be killed for it, right? And you also get scammed too when we actually, with someone that says that, oh, you have to give me money. Yeah, the begging culture, money, right? And it just makes you tired of being around the person that makes you beg, right? And then also you got people, scooters, right? People got, robbings and try to jack your phone. It's like, it's the most dangerous city to live in, right? And then you have to be on alert all the time. It's like UK, right? That's like UK, all right? Right? UK is actually not dangerous, but it's all dangerous in Europe. But that doesn't mean that, everyone's going to live there. It's going to suddenly be, obviously it's from dangerous stuff. Maybe compared to Colombia. Colombia's dangerous over UK, so there we go. Right? So that doesn't mean every Colombian person is dangerous. That doesn't mean every woman you meet is dangerous. It doesn't mean you can't have a fantastic holiday there. It means that visitors need to understand the risk and behave according to the rules of the country you go to. So there's a huge difference between going to Colombia for a weekend, staying somewhere reputable, enjoying yourself, and going home, right? And versus deciding that you're going to permanently relocate there because you believe that somehow Colombia, that beautiful country, is going to fix your depressing life. There are two completely different decisions. A holiday that can be exciting because everything's new. Now life exciting, the food exciting, the people exciting. You'd have to deal with the boring parts of everyday life. But eventually you move there, the novelty wears off, right? Then you have to deal with rent, right? You have to deal with immigration. You have to deal with healthcare. Actually, healthcare is cheaper than UK, but let's be fair, UK is superior. But we move from US to Colombia, basically, means the healthcare is a little bit cheaper because, well, I don't really do that in the best quality there. But depends what quality healthcare you go to, right? You have to deal with language barriers. Oh my God, of course it is, right? Let's speak Spanish and very easier, but there's like different accent, different ways of where people say something different compared to other countries where we have very slang. So you have different personalities going in there. You have to deal with bureaucracy. That means you have to do with passport. Again, you have to do with ID, Caesura, whatever that is, rental, right, controls. You have to get someone to handle, the rental controls of that affordable rented houses, right? You have to earn money. You have to make genuine friends, a lot harder than it is when you're back in country. Without any friends, you have to figure out who you can trust, right? And you have to deal with loneliness if you haven't actually built a community. So if you haven't built a community in Colombia, you're probably still going to be suffering loneliness. And that's where you're going to be like, you're going to suffer. If you're going to be lonely in UK, you're going to be lonely in Colombia anyway. It's like, if you're not going to be lonely, I mean, maybe if you know how to deal with it, then it should be easy, right? But yeah, I don't think life is meant to be easy for anyone that way, especially men, right? But because here's something people forget, right? You can be surrounded by people. This is the harshest truth, right? You can be surrounded by people and still be lonely. You can go to clubs every weekend and still be lonely, right? You can have dates and still be lonely. You can have thousands of followers online and still be lonely. Moving to another country doesn't automatically cure loneliness. No alone cure your porn addiction. We'll say how it is, porn addiction, right? You have porn addiction, I don't think any country is going to fix you that. Maybe it help you take your mind up, but you start to work something else with it, right? Because if you got nothing else, you could end up right there, right in the bottom of the barrel with porn, all right? And if someone is already struggling with depression, rejection, or serious emotional problems, moving thousands of miles from the support networks can make those problems more difficult to manage, right? The problems you had in Britain doesn't, necessarily mean that it's going to disappear when suddenly you land in Colombia, right? Imagine a scenario, but you're still you, right? If you don't know how to handle rejection, right? Moving Beijing doesn't automatically teach you how to handle rejection. If you secure your Britain, change your location doesn't automatically give you confidence, right? If you're lonely in Britain, right, UK, right, whether you're abroad doesn't automatically give you meaningful friendships. If you're angry women in Britain, whether abroad doesn't automatically mean you're stop being angry with women, right? Last one is actually important, right? Because, well, I understand that, UK women, it's not all great and that. Majority of women, I think, probably sometimes doesn't have to deal romantically, but there's some good women out there, right? Maybe you need to have 4, 5, 6 girlfriends and 6 wives and whatever that is. It's not gonna be angry with women, right? But maybe because, I don't know, people are just a bit divided now, so people still develop. I understand moving to another country, but I'll tell you this, right? It's not going to be automatic, right? It doesn't solve your answers, right? It's just going to create new problems, right? Even though I can understand moving thousands away because somehow you're going to get away from the problems, right? Maybe you're going to get away with the culture, whatever that makes sense, but you're still going to make bad people, so I don't mean that your life's going to be proved here and there. It just means that you're going to have to upgrade yourself and you're going to have to start new scratch a new life from there, right? If you don't mind that, that's good for you, right? So anyways, yeah. And if you're angry at women in Britain, remember about, I think that's a dangerous mentality when someone gets rejected repeatedly in Britain and decides the problem must be British women, right? Or English women, in that perspective, but let's say British women, the UK. And let's start believing that Colombian women, Brazilian women, Eastern European, or women somewhere else, I don't know, or somewhere that is better than Western women, or maybe sometimes, maybe you think that Thailand, Filipinos, Southeast Asia, although South Asia is beautiful, but, or whatever, somewhere else, right? Whatever from Latin America, right? But I'm just used to Colombia though, because there's a lot of people that go to Colombia and they're still struggling with it. But I think that, any women, from traditional countries is going to solve the problem, right? You've got Africa's, different, so I don't think it's going to create new problems. But women on interchangeable, how do you put it? But I'll say interchangeable nationalities, right? So the individuals, right? And if you go to another country, resentment towards women already in your head, right? You haven't solved the problem with you, right? You're just taking the problem with you. All right. That's why I think moving abroad as a protest vote against women is such a bad idea. It's a harsh truth, though. Don't move to Colombia because you want to punish British women by leaving. Don't move because you want to prove everybody back home wrong, right? Don't move because the influencer told you that you got no future in UK, right? Move because you genuinely want to live in Colombia. That's a different mindset, though, right? And that's another issue that needs to be discussed, right? The difference between international dating and exploitation. There's nothing wrong with two adults from different countries meeting each other, right? Falling in love and having a relationship that happens every day. But there's a line between daring dating and deliberately exploiting vulnerable people. If somebody is using women for content, filming with people without meaningful consent, enjoying sexual tourism, arranging exploitative encounters, or treating local women as a props in online fantasy is something that deserves scrutiny, right? And I think the technology companies have a role to. The solution shouldn't be hate foreigners or keep tourists out of Colombia. That's ridiculous, right? So I understand is that there are millions of legitimate tourists, right? People go to Colombia because they love the culture. They go because they enjoy the food. They go because they love the music, They go because they want to see the landscapes. They go because they want to learn Spanish. They go because they have Colombian friends or family. They go because they simply want to experience another country, right? That's completely different from somebody deliberately going there to exploit people. Technology platforms could be more to stop from constantly pushing vulnerable people towards increasingly extreme content. Imagine somebody watches one video by Dana Broad. Instead of immediately getting 50 more videos saying Western women are terrible, leave the country. The platform could give them a broader range of content, yeah, travel videos, cultural videos, language learning videos, releasing cost of information, safety information, videos from people actually live long term. That will give people a much more realistic picture. The platform could also be more aggressive about demonizing content that facilitates sexual exploitation, trafficking, non-consensual filming, or criminal behavior. Because the algorithm, right, rewards it, people will keep producing it. And there's another side to the conversation. We shouldn't pretend that every person who wants to leave Britain is crazy, right? Britain has problems, America has problems, Colombia has problems. Every country, in fact, in the world has problems, right? Some people generally have better lives abroad. Maybe somebody hates the British weather. Maybe they work remotely. Maybe they love Colombian culture. Maybe they have family there, right? Maybe they prefer, the lifestyle, right? Good for them, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? The problem begins with somebody believes another country is going to simply magically repair their self-esteem. Because if you're moving towards something you genuinely want, then that's one thing. If you're running away from yourself, that's a problem, right? And sometimes, that the country they move to simply isn't right for them. They might go home, they might move somewhere else, right? And not necessarily failure, right? Sometimes I heard that some Aussie girl, right, or New Zealand actually found love to someone else, but I don't see anyone making love to anyone in Colombia or something, because, well, they're married to wrong people, right? So they might have to find someone different. They might have to go to Brazil. They might have to go other places. Not everyone can find love in South America. Sometimes people can love Africa, Europe, Southeast Asia, Southeast Asia, and so on, right? And Middle East too as well. Don't forget that as well, right? And Russia too, depends, but I don't know, but wherever that is, whether tickles your boat, I'm pretty sure you fancy that really well. So anyways, and that isn't necessarily a failure. Sometimes the mutual thing to say is that I tried it, I learned from it, and now I know where I actually want to live, right? So there's no shame into it. Honestly, you don't have to the UK, you don't have to move to Colombia, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. If you prefer the UK, stay in the UK, right? If you want to visit Colombia, visit the Colombia. If you want to live there, right, for a long term, research it properly and spend enough time to understand what ordinary life is actually like. So how people are, women are, because I watch the 4K videos and they're very normal, right? Majority of women are average, in my opinion. Yeah, you go to Western countries, very wealthy, very beautiful women there, right? But they got problems, but everyone's got problems too as well, right? I got extreme problems, but Colombia got extreme problems, right? They still got people's drugging, scamming, taking liberties out of people, taking mugs, right? The guys getting drugged and getting all happy when a Colombian woman says, hola, hola, right? And they'd be like, and they'll be like all to stay enjoying themselves, but they're tapping their hand and boom! That's where they got you, right? They're very manipulative that way, right? Less in Western countries, because they know that they're straightforward, they're serious, yeah. Let's take my man, yeah. Let's go for dinner, yeah. Because they have to prove they're yourself, and a lot of times they have to get used to it, right? They almost chase after the woman, yeah. A woman doesn't chase you. Remember that. You have to chase her, yeah. I don't believe that because that's feminine behavior, yeah. Because that's pretty much feminine behavior. As men, you have to chase anyways, right? Because it's part of our brain, right? Men have to make the first move of it, yeah? Women doesn't, because women sometimes is nervous and suddenly prefers the guy to make the first move, right? Anyways, don't let a YouTube algorithm, right, make you one of the biggest decisions of your life for you. Because the person selling your fantasy isn't going to live your life for you. They're not dealing with loneliness. They're not going to pay your rent. They're not going to deal with your immigration problems. They're not going to deal with your relationships, right? And they're not going to send. They're not going to be there if something goes seriously wrong. Because once you move there, once you visit there, you're on your own, man. You have to deal with it yourself. You have to book a tour. You have to do everything by yourself. And there aren't going to be anyone to help you. No one's going to save you, right? No one's going to save you in those countries. You have to save yourself. Yeah, you have to just do everything by yourself. Yeah, that could be one of those lonely experience, but that could be the most, truth experience. No one's going to save you, right? And we're looking for a one to actually magically think that is perfect, but we're not, really. We're not. We have to fix ourselves, yeah? Whatever country we go to, we just have to fix ourselves and have to find something that, something that we can actually work towards, right? So here's my message, right? You don't need another country to prove that you're worthy, right? You don't need Colombian women to validate you. You don't need British, American, Swedish, Australian, Aussie, New Zealand, Canadian women to validate you either. You don't need to hate one group of people in order to appreciate another. Travel because you're curious. Move because you genuinely want a different life. Date because you want to meet another human being. If you're struggling with loneliness, rejection, or mental health, deal with those problems directly. So that means get therapy, approach, right? Get some friends, right? A little support network, improve that as well. Instead of expecting a passport to solve them, right? Because a new country can give you new environment, right? New scenery, yeah? But you can't automatically give you a new life because it's started to build that yourself. So you see, right? All these countries, yeah? You have to build it yourself, right? And that's another thing, right? There might be passport bros still in other countries, but it's all people, travelers, digital nomads, right? Because we're getting to globalize now, we're getting to working from home now. We got jobs that are working online now. You can go to other countries and just get a different life, right? Instead of living in Western countries where you live in cubicle and people live solitary life in cubicles, right? In other countries, if you see how people are happy, that's when you can learn a bit live, research, and just chill over there, right? But at the same time, yeah, the passport bro, back in the days, yeah, where you got flicking the passport and everyone will like you, and some women actually like you for traditional, make money, do whatever, right? But because of the social media, yeah, because the women has every social media now, right? Now it's like everyone is going to get her, yeah, wherever that is race or wherever that is, yeah. There's always complications going on there, right? That means every single woman out there is having a competition, yeah. I mean, look at every following so everyone has competition there, right? Because everyone has followers, yeah. Not allowed to message you, so you don't know anyone, you're a stranger, so right? It's gonna happen to Colombia, right? You get no DM, nothing like that, yeah. And Tinder, well, you could just, not having to go Tinder, right? Because Tinder is actually the number one cause for all the madness that's going on in Colombia, right? Not other countries do this, but only Colombia. I wonder why, but, Dangerous Cult History, they got culture members running the show in the Tinder. You go to Western countries, they don't have all that. Maybe they're the criminals, but, doing like mental health case or something, or crazy ones, yeah? Some people are just weird, found crazy ones everywhere, but Colombia is like very normalized. Please don't track them, underfunded. Yeah, so that means they don't care about you. It's like, why should I care about them? You must as save yourself from, madness is going on there. All right. So, do I think Passport Rose dead? I mean, the days of flicking your passport, the days of telling women you're American or UK or British, yeah. Telling women that, I can cook for you, I can clean for you, yeah. Give me money and I'll make you my wife. It's a poultry prostitute, but those days are gone, yeah. These days are gone, yeah. Now they're gonna get you for just your diaper, your panties, yeah, your condoms, and your and your bras, yeah. Waiting for the next woman. You probably mean an escort, yeah. But sometimes being a normal one, yeah. Sometimes normal person, yeah. Or sometimes, right, you're just gonna get denied. Yeah, I've seen happen with lots of content creators. They're making it up. They're not playing around. They're finding in 2026 that they're not playing around. Now you just, getting found out, yeah, by anyone, right? And, this is another thing. I heard that you can't really do swap over, right? Which is, for me, I have to do it anyways because I don't really do direct stops from Heathrow to all the way to all the way to Bogota to Colombia, right? Because let's be honest, right? Sometimes I do from Colombia or some UK Bogota to Colombia, but sometimes guys from Miami do direct stop anyways. But that's why they can get you, right? Or maybe sometimes you do a bus, but that's long, so they always do like connection flights from there, right? Because I did one of those, and from different countries, I had that you have to do a connecting flight, and it takes a while to do that. So yeah, I know, right? About those airports and stuff. But yeah, they're still denying tries, and they're still getting you done. They still have to take photos, and they're putting news saying sex tourists. And they also deploy lots of people, for text tourism. I'm not going to name the creators because you know who they are, right? You know who it is. If you're in travel space, it's popular creators, the Passport Bros. They're denied, man. They're denied. They don't want anyone there. They don't want a sex tourist there. It used to be back in the day where people just, doing wife. I thought, you could marry and it's like, you date and you try and find someone on a cheaper scale of stuff, right? Now it's like inflation, prices going high. It's like, it's dead, right? It's dead anyways, yeah? Everyone find out, yeah? I'm sure that there's still some people that's still, doing, escort and prostitutes and stuff, right? Everyone can find out, Thailand can find out, right? People still, mess around with, prostitutes and whatever, that's good, right? When you get married, it's like very different. When you live in it, it's very, very different, right? Sometimes when they're putting, the TVs, right? They're putting with, people that are pros, paparazos, and people that you pay just to be on the website. So that completely is dead. I mean, the Passport Bro is dead. Yeah, it's just, I just don't care anymore. Passport Bro term is dead. Everyone find out. Yeah, I don't really want to be associated with this term anymore. Yeah. I mean, I don't care, really, if you want to name me. I'm just not Passport Bro. I'm just not. I don't care. I really don't care, man. I just moved to another country and just do my own thing, yeah? I'm not with this community because some of the people in this community, they're full of shit, Do you know how many, videos I watch and they're all full of shit, yeah? Some of the commenters are like, not really disconnected with other people. Yeah, I'm not saying disgusting, but there's some crazy, sorry about that. There's some crazy comments about women. Yeah, do I really want to be around them, or do I want to be around guys that knows about women? Yeah, they can treat them gentlemen and according to the plan. But I've been with. But do you want to be watching videos of trashy people? I mean, that's what I call them now. It's just trash people. Well, because it's a stereotype now. Not everyone, this community is trash. But like the collective people are always trash. Though it's a collective. Yeah. Because I'm not saying Passport Bros or trash, but the collective of people is just trash, working class, yeah, ghetto, hood people, yeah, going over there trying to have cheap lights, yeah, cheap nights, yeah, cheap drinks, and women that they can pay off, yeah, so they can sleep with them, yeah, and that's not, that's couldn't be further for the truth, right? It's just dead, bruv. Just follow God. Yeah, that's what Sneeko says. Rip Hill's dead, and also Passport Bro is dead. Yeah, Mary G moved to Cartagena, and since then I haven't heard a single thing about them. Yeah, there was no popularity going on with them. Right? Maybe they can make comments here and there, but make videos here and there. Right, because they've been doing this shit for a long time. Moved to Cartagena, and Austin Holloman probably moved to Kenya now and got a girlfriend now named Z. Other people just basically like a channel removed. All the Chelo Cabo, well, let's be honest, probably single now, probably depressed. So he's moving back to US. Roberto versus the world. Well, Passport, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, and Casey Ribbon, yeah, he's a weirdo, yeah. Completely Passport Bro, completely the way that people profile Passport Bros to be, yeah. Just a bunch of guys looking for cheap flights. Cheap, they think it's cheap, yeah. Looking for women, looking for drugs, you know, wherever that is, yeah. And it's like they turned from a hidden term, something they shouldn't be doing, yeah, to now something that is normalized and online. It's like everyone knows now. Everyone knows Possible Rose. Yeah, maybe you struggle to do nomads, and maybe you should call it you know, maybe just foreigners with money. I don't know, whatever, right? Whatever, yeah, immigrants. I don't know. I don't want to call it. I don't really care anymore. I don't really care. I just watch videos for entertainment because I know that I am not. I just don't care. Yeah, still gonna suffer the same shit in UK as in Colombia. Still gonna be the same shit. Don't let it tell you otherwise. Anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying. Yeah, Steve Hamilton can prove you this. Mary Jane Buss can tell you this. Yeah, the reality is it's not as simple as that. It's very complex. Someone's going to be paying for them to say that to you because they're looking for vulnerable people with, you know, a lot of, you know, limited dating options and think that from small town you're going to go to Colombia. You don't know what's happening next. Maybe you get killed, scopolamine, drugged, scammed. Yeah, take it. You know, for liberties. Yeah, do I want to be in that city? Do I really want to be living in that city where I have to look behind my shoulders because you can't trust anyone? It's like everyone's looking for opportunities. Yeah, the culture is always opportunistic. People always gonna look for opportunities. Yeah, they're always gonna look for to max out extract your money. I want to go somewhere else or stay in UK or stay in America. I'd rather deal with the shit Colombia. I'd rather deal with drama shit because it's all dramatized, really. To be honest, they don't look for love. They look for drama. Yeah, they want any drama they'll put in content. Yeah, Steve Hamilton. Even though I disagree a lot of times, one thing for sure, I can't disagree. He's a good content creator. Yeah, he does the real stuff. Yeah, he does real stuff about dating and how it's going to be very difficult for you to find a wife if you think that you're going to be only staying for a week. If you're going to get a wife within a week, and I'm like, you can't even hook up anymore because there isn't much of a hookup culture that's like back in the West. It's very different, right? It's very, very, very long term, yeah. Because the only hookup culture really is transactional, yeah. The hookup is that you just have to go liars club, some nightclubs, yeah, establishment, and you have to pay that anyways, yeah. You have to pay it, yeah, and just have your fun, and then afterwards they're never gonna see you again. It's all about the money. I don't love you. Love you for this, right? It's all dead. It's all gone, yeah. It's all gone, right? I just rather, although you find something different, yeah, and interesting, rather than the same old shit every other time, So that's all I'm gonna say. All right. Hopefully you're gonna find it like this good video of it, right? 38 minutes or 39 minutes sometimes, maybe it depends how long it is. Just please like, subscribe, and share, and just comment on this video if you think I'm lying, I'm talking shit because I've never been there, but I'm gonna go there, but I don't want to live there. Let's be honest, I just don't want to live there. Not because the women are beautiful, but also the women are average too. So I don't know what the guys are selling you out there, right? They're selling you a fake fantasy. It's a fake what? It's a fake one. Yeah, it's a Disneyland. Yeah, what they're selling you. And in the real fairy tale, how it looks like elsewhere. Yeah, even Bogota, Cartagena, it's all the same way. Yeah, Bogota is a little bit different, but probably nobody goes there. Cartagena's the same way, really. Probably the pricey, probably the beach, and a little bit weird one as well. But Mary Jane, especially because of the tourists and the people out there, right? And also, you get rejected even as a black person and white person. I got rejected from a Colombian lady, it's Cartagena, who looked black to me. So it's like, I don't think it means anything anymore. It means that people just are divided and they just don't like you because of, different things. So yeah, that's what it is. But comment, share, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.